Well, hello, welcome again to a reading of Plato's Symposium, which I'm just going to translate through this particular selection. And I got up to this section here, 181a7. So this is still the speech of Pausanias. So, homen un tes pandemu Aphroditas. Now remember, in the earlier bit, the speaker has claimed that there are two Aphrodites, and hence two Eroses. So homen, it's got no subject with it. It's the Eros, therefore, of pandemu Aphroditas. And the editors put a capital Pi here, so of the common or the popular Aphrodite is, now the hos aleithos is, well, the hos is very truly, I think it's hos with an adverb here. So in very truth is very truly pandemos. And the editor has put a capital Pi here and a little one here. It's meant to be a kind of pun, so therefore the Eros of the popular Aphrodite is most truly, popular, most truly common. Kai ergadzetai hotan tuke. And he operates literally wherever he might happen to be. So he operates, here we translate this perhaps at random. Kai hutos estin, and this is the one whom, hoi phauloi, the meanest or the lowliest of men, erosin, love. Hoi toi utoi, such men love. Now we're going to take this proton men. We've got proton men, and it's going to be followed by these epaters, which is fairly idiomatic. It simply means first of all, and then the epater is then. So first, I'll do that bit first. So first of all, such men love women no less than boys. So this common Eros is bisexual, likes both women and boys. And then, following on from the proton men, of them, of the ones that they love, also they love, and the verb erao takes a genitive, so they love the bodies more than the souls. Epater, something here is like furthermore, perhaps they do this so that they might be able, well, it's almost to get power over, well, that's implied with this dunamai, so that they might have power over, and it's taking a partitive genitive here, the no totatun. This is alpha privative, the nous root, and it's a superlative. So over the most, over the least intelligent, over the ones with the least mind. So first of all, they love the body more than the soul, and first of all, I should say, they love women no less than men, and then they love the body more than the bodies more than the soul, and then they do this, understand, so that they might get control over the most unintelligent, the least intelligent. Pros to, so the participle here is blepontone, looking only, pros to plus the infinitive, literally at the accomplishment, so perhaps at the conquest, we might say. So looking only for conquest. Ameluntes, not caring at all, so being uncaring of the good or not. So being not caring at all whether it is done well or not. and I think the two, we have to supply this something like this infinitive here. So not caring whether the accomplishment is done well or whether it is not, a may. Hothen de sumbino autois, from whence indeed it happens for them to do this, hotan tu koisi, literally whatever that they might do. So again, it's almost haphazardly. So it's something like, as a result, it happens that they do this to them haphazardly or at random. Homoios de agathon, homoios de tunantion, for to enantion. So it's something like sometimes for good, so perhaps resembling good on the one hand and resembling the opposite on the other. So in other words, sometimes doing good and sometimes bad. Estiga kai apotes theou neoteras tus uses poluetes heteras. Now again, the subject of the esti here I think is eros. For eros, this eros is also from the one who is the younger goddess, more than from the other one. Remember, there were two Aphrodites, so this is the one from the younger Aphrodite. This is the one born of Zeus and Dione, more than from the other one, who is born from Uranus. So the younger Aphrodite also is the one sharing, it's all genitives after this apo, from the one having a share, literally in or partaking in birth, both from female and male. So in other words, this younger one was born from Dione, that's the female, and Zeus, the male. Hode, now again we get a proton men, and we're going to get the epata again here as we saw earlier on. But the Eros, who comes from the Urania, the heavenly Aphrodite, first of all does not share in the female, but only the male. So this is from met echo, takes a genitive. So first of all, the heavenly, the Eros, who was descended or who was connected with the heavenly Aphrodite, has no share with the female, but only the male. Kai estin houtos hot tone paidon Eros. And this one is the lover of boys. Let's move it up a bit here. Is the lover of boys, epata, and secondly, so this is proton men and then epata. Secondly, he is descended from the elder of the two Aphrodites. I think this is feminine, agreeing with Aphrodite. And secondly, he's descended from the elder of the two Aphrodites, Hubrios amoiru, alpha privative plus this moira root here. So being the elder, I think we've probably got to put a participle in here. So it's almost being the elder. It has no share of hubris, of lawless violence. Very strong word. It has no share of lawless violence. Hothen day. Now we had a Hothen day back up here. We have another one here. From whence those in the epipnoi, this is from pneo, to breathe, and the inspired ones. So those inspired from this love, so for which reason, Hothen day, for which reason indeed, those inspired from this love are turned to the male. Now I think the participles next, agapontes, loving. Now we get these neuters here. There's neuter participle. It must be agreeing back with the male here. So loving the male, the one who is stronger by nature, and the one having more sense. So he's fairly anti-female in this section here. This is comparative. You can see the Rome root here. It's connected with the verb ronumi, to be strong, and you get nouns out of that and adjectives. So this means the stronger, the one who is stronger by nature, and having, neuter participle agreeing with to arain, the male, and having more mind, having more sense. Kai tis an gnoie, kai en aute te paiderastia tus elikrinos, apotutu tus erotos, ahoremenus. And who, so this is, perhaps anyone, I should say, anyone would recognise, this is an optative here, anyone would recognise that even in this pederastia, even in this passion for boys, anyone would recognise them. So tous goes with the hormemenus, those who are driven, literally sent forth, being driven forth. So those who are driven. Elikrinos is a funny word. It means genuinely. The etymology, I think, has been much discussed and not completely fixed. It simply means genuinely. It turns up again very rarely, but turns up occasionally in the New Testament. So anyone would recognise those being driven genuinely or purely, even in the love of, even in their passion for boys, from this love. Uga, for they do not love. Now paidon here must refer to young children. Previously the paidon just referred to older boys, and here it must refer to children. So they're not fond, they do not love younger children, but whenever, so perhaps they wait until whenever they might begin, that is the young men might at that time make a beginning, literally to be strong in mind. So they're not fond of younger boys, but wait until the boys begin to mature intellectually, we might paraphrase it. Tut der, that is when it's singular, so literally when it draws near to the growing of a beard, literally. So we'd say about the same time that they begin to grow a beard. That's generally about the age of 16. Parascuras menoiga oimoi, or oime, for I think that those beginning en tuthen, from that point of time, they have, this is asim goes with the perfect passive, with the perfect participle here, perfect passive participle, have been prepared. So those beginning from that time have been prepared, eran, to love, and now we get hos with a future participle meaning intention. So with the intention, and the verb here is sunami, of being with them, ton bion hapanta, for their entire life, kai sun bios menai, and intending to live with them in common. and not having deceived them, from ex apatao, not having deceived them, having taken them as a young boy in their foolishness, and having mocked them. So again, we get future participles after this hos, not with the intention of going off, running after someone else. So his point is here, they're not going after young boys because they're not, they have not sufficiently intelligent, and if they wait to this particular point of time till they're at least 16, then they will love them with the intention of being together with for their whole life, living with them in common and not deceiving them, having taken them as a young boy, I think, in their foolishness, having mocked them with the intention of going off, running after someone else. Now this is an interesting passage here, this idea of living together. Pausanias is probably here thinking of himself and Agathon, and it's not clear, but the pair of them may have been living together as a couple. Such cohabitation was fairly rare in Athens, and men were expected to marry for the production of children. Even those who identified as being essentially homosexual were expected to have a wife as well to produce children. So this is a very interesting passage here in terms of the philosophy and what's happening socially in Athens at the time. But I leave that to the commentators to discuss. I'm just translating it here. Crane dekai nomon anai, but it is necessary also for there to be a law, me eran, not to love paidon. Now this again must be referring back to young children here, not to love children. Hina me, in order that, and his reason is, in order that much effort may not be spent in vain, not in vain, sorry, to something which is uncertain, which is unclear. This is from Analisco, to spend. So there ought to be some law not to love young boys, and the reason being, in order that much effort might not be spent as adelon on something which is uncertain. We might say on an uncertain outcome. Togodon paidon telos adelon hoi teluta kakias kairos arites psukes te peri kai somatos. Just notice the accent on peri, which means it's going to refer back to the earlier bit, and we'll get te and kai here as well. So I think this means something like the for the final state, the telos of the boys, understand, is adelon, is unclear. Hoi, to where. Now we get partitive genitives here, I think, so it's something like to where of badness and virtue, teluta, it might end. So the subject of that is telos. So the final state of the boys is unclear as to where the final state might be completed, perhaps in regard to bad and virtue, both in regard to the soul and the body. That's about the best I can do with that bit there. You can paraphrase it something like, whether the youths turn out good or bad in regard to their bodies and souls is adelon, unclear. Hoimen un agathoi ton nomon tuton autoi hautois hekontes tithentai. Therefore those who are noble, they willingly are placing this law, so they themselves are willingly placing this law upon themselves. Notice the breathing here. crende, but it is necessary pros anenkasdan, to compel also these common or popular lovers, the ones who follow the popular eros. It is necessary to compel them to do such a thing, i.e. to do the same thing. Hosper, just to do such a thing as pros anenkasdomen, we compel them, kath hosen, as much as we are able to, not to love, and then we've got the free women. So there were laws about men having affairs with women that were unmarried, without the permission of their fathers, presumably, so of free women, or of their husbands for that matter. And so he says there ought to be laws to stop these other lovers from loving children, loving boys, for the wrong reasons. So just to do that bit again, because it's a bit tricky. So it's necessary also to compel the popular lovers in respect of such a law, or such a thing as, such a law as, we compel them, kath hoson, as much as we are able, not to love, not to fall in love with free women. Hutoi ga asin hoi kai to enedos pepoi kotes. For these are the ones having made this reproach. So these are the very ones who make this reproach, hosti, with the result that certain ones dare, that's the infinitive after hosti, dare to say that, understand, it is iskron, it is a disgraceful thing, karidzesthai is to gratify lovers. So remember, in Athenian culture, the boy might be pursued by an older male lover, but it was the boy's job to resist and not to gratify them. And the speaker here is blaming that institution on these bad lovers, the ones that are the these common or popular lovers. Legu side eis tutus apoblepontes, but they say this looking at these men, that is the common lovers, seeing their akairian, their reckless behaviour, untimely, literally untimely or reckless behaviour, kai adikion, and their unrighteous behaviour of them, epe udepu kosmios ge kai norinos hotiun pragma pretominon psogon an dikaios fere. Since, now the depu is often used, it's a very nice word in Greek, it means surely or supposedly, since supposedly or surely the act, the hotiun is whatsoever. So whatsoever act being done, kosmios, in an orderly way and in a lawful way, would not really win sogon, reproach. This is an optative from Pharaoh. It can normally in the middle, it means to win, and perhaps it could be just bear reproach or win reproach or attract reproach. So it's something like, if the matter, whatever it might be, was conducted in an orderly and in fact in an orderly and lawful way, The ou goes with the feroi. It would not justly bring, probably better, bring psogon reproach. And that is the next section of the Symposium.